Hi everyone, it's Lynda here from Banjo's Bead House and welcome to our Facebook Friday. And this week we are finishing my orange color challenge that we set somewhere back in March. So we started with that fun little cabochon, we've done the bezeling, we've done the little bail, and today we are finishing it off with the rope. And I'm also going to do a quick demo of how we start the double right angled weave and how we are going to attach a wire guard to the end for allowing for the jumper enclosure to a magnetic clasp. You could also use a symbol setting in the that range to drop an extra bead in, or replace a seed bead to do one as well. Didn't have any of those at home, and also Beadsmith doesn't make them in gunmetal, this being predominantly black, and I'm using a gunmetal magnet using a wire guard instead. So showing you guys how I do that. So I'm going to tip you guys down and we are going to have fun finishing off our orange color challenge. So that's the piece where we are today, and we are finishing it with a multicolored rope in double right angled weave. So if you've never done double right angled weave, I am going to zoom in just a little bit. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong button there. Okay, so zooming in, I've got a little pile of size 11s and I've got my colored beads just off camera. So it's just like right angled weave to start. You start with 4 beads. And I've just got them held in my fingers, dragging my thread all the way to the end, creating a loop, and then I like to go back through the first 2 again, just because it gives me a nicer finish, I feel. Pulling that through and then just pulling that tight to basically form a little square, which is what we normally see when we're doing right angled weave. This time, instead of just starting straight off that bead and doing another loop before, well, like we would in right angled weave, we're actually going to pick up and go between each of those beads. Now, to match the pattern that I've got in my piece, we're picking up 1 black. Actually, what we might do is, for the sake of demo, I'll do it in a double color contrast, because we will do my colorway when we get to the other piece. So for color contrast, we are just picking up 1 bead, and as I said, you are stitching through this, so it's basically filling in. So if you think of it as peyote, when you're filling in between your beads on your next row, that's effectively what we are doing here. So sorry that it's hidden under my fingernail, it's just easier to keep control, particularly when it's this size. So that's your starting point. Oops, making sure that thread path is actually out of the way. And we're stitching on our last bead. So back through that one. And this is where you would then come step up and out to that bead to do your next join. Now, before we do that, actually we will do that. So if you're just going to keep going, then you pick up your next inner core, which in my case is black. Okay, and get that around. You then pass through the first black, picking up your contrasting color. Now you can do all of this in one color. You could do this in a mixture of sizes as well. That's entirely up to you. I'm just keeping it nice and simple and creating some fun patterns. Okay, so you can see there we've got our second unit, and when we're going to create our next one, we actually need to weave all the way back to the top. And okay, so let's pretend I haven't done a whole lot of row work of that. If we were starting out and we're going to do our wire guardian on the end, and you will see me do this twice because I need to finish it off on my other piece, but this is just a little demo strip. I've just got my wire guardian off camera. I think he's now on camera. grabbing that, and I am using a size 12 needle so I don't pop the hole out too much on this. Or I was at home using a size 12. This might be 10 on this demo, but 12 is better for this part. And I'm just going to be using a circuit through that 11, so that's why you do it actually on your end one, but this is for the sake of demo on nice clear coloured easy to see beads. Oops. So we're just pulling through. Now the reason I'm using that is you can stitch a magnet clasp directly on, that's not a problem. I've got the customer who wants this, isn't sure whether she wants a magnet or a lobster or a toggle. I'm going to demo and putting it on with a magnet, sorry, because she wasn't sure. It's making my life easier just to have this set up ready to easily jump in and change this. So I like to do 3 passes with this, which is again why a size 12 needle is a little easier. But it's about just making it nice and secure. Okay. Oh. Yeah, see, I've popped out, I've overstretched that. So that's why a size 12 needle is a little easier, because you're not going to pop your thread out. It's just one of those things to be careful of. So then if I was starting, I would weave back to there and then keep going with my piece. If I'm finishing off, I would weave through there and finish it off, which we're about to show. So that's the starting point of a double right angled weave, and adding in your wire guard nice and easily. As you can see, I had a bit of fun last night playing around. Making the rest of my long rope. I already have my wire guard embedded on this end here, and my tail that I need to trim, and I literally just have the rest of my colorway to go. So I've come out of my black bead here, so I am just picking up my inner core of black. So you're picking up 4, flipping it over, and then I'm going up through my next bead here. This is where I pick up my colorway, which my next one is orange. So pick up my orange. Now because I didn't want my leading color to only end up with 3s, I'm doing my center colorway in the black. Then picking up my orange and then going back through that center bead. Oops. Dropping my work as I go. Okay, so pulling nice and tight. Then weaving back up to that central point. And I like to just use my thumb there just to make sure it is a nice tight little join. Picking up core beads again. If you're not a huge fan of making ropes, this does work up nice and quickly to make ropes, to make bales. It also does work really lovely to do it as the foundation for a number of things you can build up off this stitch. So it is a fun one to add into your stitching arsenal. If you've taken any of the recent projects or done any of the recent ones that Sabine Lippert has been working on, you'll see a lot of double right angled weave. I'm looking forward to a class with her next weekend, making a sculptural 3D piece, which I will have fun sharing photos of you guys with as I get it made. Oops. So I've got one more grouping to go, which is the green. just grabbing our, whoops, sorry, sent that flying. And our last black pickup. And picking up our last of the green. Oops. Okay. And just weaving my way back to the top, and then I'll grab my white guardian and we can finish this off. So we're now at the end of the rope, so we are done with seed beads. Picking up our wire guardian again, and I'm just going to give him a little squeeze just to bring his insides together a little bit more. Okay, so that pops straight out. So one of the things I did last night as I was doing this, I just gave it a little squeeze just in case any of the slits on the side are open. Just a gentle squeeze just to try and close those. And again, that's why a size 12 needle is a little bit better for this than using a size 10, and I've just pulled the needle the wrong way. Thankfully realized that before we pulled too far. So always you go from the bottom up and over. Tried to do it in reverse, which would not work. So we're going through, and we're going to make a circuit with that top seed bead and just try and get that wire guardian to nestle down onto either side of that round. So, and we're just going to do 3 circuits and then finish off with a little slip knot. If you don't have a wire guard, you could also use a closed jump ring and then jump ring into that. You could equally stitch directly into your clasp should you choose to. I'm just finding that I get a lot of repair work because when things have been stitched in, the clasp breaks. You then actually have to repair the entire piece. So sometimes putting in a wire guardian or a closed ring or stitching in a metal piece that you can connect to sometimes just gives your piece a little bit different lifespan, particularly if you are selling your pieces. And that thread just popped, so we'll try that again. So again, sometimes just holding it in your fingers while it works, just while you're pulling your threads through, helps immensely. And that last thread through. Okay, and I am just going to run around this so that I can get my thread path into a different position to tie off, making sure I don't loop around that finding. See if we can get into that 11. No, he's got too many threads in him. He's going, no, don't want to play ball. But we can get into that one. Okay, so to finish off, I'm just going to slide my needle under those threads. Whip my thread around a few times, pulling it back against where I've got the needle so that it is locking in and around that thread path, and just pulling nice and tight. If that one was playing ball, I could thread through to there and tie off again. He's not. My thread zapper is at home, so I'm just going to trim, and I'll melt that down, trim and melt that down later. We'll just do a trim up on the other side, and again I'll finish him off at home. But we are ready to effectively assemble our finished orange challenge piece. Just getting my needle out of the way. We'll get some seed beads out of the way too, just so I don't send them flying, which I have a habit of doing. Oops. So I'm just going to thread through. I have some jump rings, I have my magnet, I'm grabbing my pliers. Sorry, I've done all of that off camera. My bad. Hopefully you guys can have seen this. If I am off camera today, I do apologize. Okay. So we're just twisting open our jump ring, threading through the magnet, through one side of the wire guardian, just as if we were finishing off a stringing piece, effectively. And opening, sliding on, and twisting close. So once I've got those guys melted down, this is all done and ready to go to its new home. So I hope you guys have had fun joining me on my orange color challenge. It has been a fun one, stepping outside of my color zone. Don't think I'm going to be doing that again for a little while. But it has been a fun process of sharing with you guys, from color selection through to looking at different ways I can play around with the bezel, the different color patterns, and then eventually getting to a finished piece. So thank you for all the fun. I might revisit doing one of these again later in the year, but I'll be back next week with another fun Facebook Live project, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.